Courtney Force, driver of the Advanced Auto Parts Chevy Camaro Funny Car in the NHRA series, and we're here in Brownsburg, Indiana at our shop, the headquarters for John Force Racing. A lot of racing is like a marathon, and ours is more of a sprint. We go A to B in just under 4 seconds, but you're seeing some of the closest side-by-side racing that you'll ever see on Earth, and and it's over 330 miles an hour, so it's a lot of fun. It's crazy. I mean, no matter where you're sitting in the stands, you're going to feel the vibration of these 10,000 horsepower cars blow by you during a race. So I think it's exciting for the fans. It's a family sport. Every ticket's a pit pass. When we get to the racetrack, that's our practice runs. We go right into the 4 runs of qualifying, get 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and race day on Sunday. But we have the off season. We use that to test our cars, any new parts, anything different on our race cars from the season before that we want to test out or try out, we get to do during the off season. We also have test days on Mondays after the event that we can test the car as well. So that's about it. I mean, it's pretty expensive to run these cars, so you can't just fuel it up and take it for a spin. It's a little bit different because these cars are running on nitro, especially how these teams have to tear apart the entire motor and rebuild it between every single run. As a driver, you're always wanting to stay in shape, whether that's physically or mentally. You're in the gym, you're trying hard for strength training, core, everything to just be able to handle a 10,000 horsepower car. And you want to be ready for it. You want to have full control of it. My dad had always said you have to learn how to manhandle the car. And so as a female, I took a little offense to that, and I got myself in the gym so I could be ready to handle it.
Courtney, should other teams be worried?
For sure. I mean, I grew up watching my dad compete in the funny car. He was on fire every weekend, flipping his car over, crashing it into a wall. But yeah, he was working hard, but as a kid, it's hard when you never get to see your dad. You never get to have dinner with him. He missed dance competitions, cheer competitions, father-daughter dances. And that definitely is hard when you're young. So that's kind of part of the reason why I knew that I wanted to get involved in NHRA drag racing, because I knew if I was in a race car and traveling on the circuit, I would be able to get to see my dad all the time. And I told my dad he couldn't retire until I was able to grow up and compete against him in the funny car category. So it's pretty surreal now, but having a lot of fun. I wanted to get into the junior drag racing leagues. My parents wouldn't let me get involved until I was a little bit older. So I actually started in a Super Comp dragster when I was 16 years old. I raced that for 3 years, and then while going to Cal State Fullerton, I went and got into a top alcohol dragster. I competed in that category for another 3 years. Now I'm already competing in my 7th season and currently in the points lead. So it's been a lot of fun, but definitely had its ups and downs along the way, but I think I've learned a lot through the years.
Stunning performance.
It's huge to have a full support system. I have my family. I compete against my dad in the funny car category, but I have his support out there as well. He's always, pushing me on and motivating me to be my best and giving me advice. We have, Robert Height. He's been a great teammate. My sister Brittany in the top fuel category. I love being able to be out there and support her, and my mom is our rock. She's the one that holds it all together and keeps our focus and keeps us all grounded, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I don't think there's very many people that can say they have followed in their father's footsteps, but to say, all 3 of my dad's daughters did is pretty amazing, and it's a lot of fun to be able to be out here working with family and doing what we love. It's tunnel vision when you have that perfect run. You step on the throttle, and that thing launches hard, it throws you back in the seat, and it takes off like a rocket. And that clutch comes in and it just continues to pull you down track. You get to that finish line, hit the parachutes and shut your fuel off, and you can feel it. You know that by the sound of the motor, how the car felt, how hard it was pulling you on the run, you know that it was on a great pass. The G's are definitely hard to compare to anything else. It throws you back hard in your seat, and we have our belts strapped in so tight that you shouldn't be able to move, but it still manages to throw you back. I feel like your heart, all of your insides get thrown to the back of the seat, and that thing takes off. And then when you hit your parachutes down at the other end, your negative G's are pulling you right there in the opposite direction. So it's intense, it's an adrenaline rush, and it all happens in a really short period of time. some of the runs that are perfect and perfectly straight and everything goes right, you know, it's not extremely difficult, but the runs where you're dropping cylinders, you know, you go into tire shake, you're smoking the tires, you got to get off the throttle and pedal it. I think that's where it kind of splits up that group. You know, I mean, you really have to push yourself hard as a driver. And I think if people could see what all is involved in driving one of these race cars, they'd probably learn a lot. If you drop one cylinder in this car, it's equivalent to an entire NASCAR. So that's a lot of power. With our sport, there's always a danger factor. The speed of these race cars, the horsepower of these cars, I think we're all well aware that anything can happen when we get in the seat. Growing up, I was aware of it, and now that I've been competing professionally for 7 seasons, I've been through the explosions, I've hit the wall. Anything can happen in these cars, and you just have to kind of accept that when you get into something like this. It's a different type of business, that's for sure, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. I will say, it does become extremely nerve-wracking. And, some people get out, they walk away completely unharmed. But there are times where, drivers do get hurt, and some drivers have been killed. So that's always in the back of your mind when you pull up there before you step on that throttle. There's always that little bit of fear that you have. My dad always says it's okay to have fear, because the moment you get in that car and you hit the throttle and you're fearless is when you're going to get in trouble, because you're not thinking about what can happen and not prepared. So for me, I think a little fear is good, knowing that anything can happen in these cars, but kind of just being on your toes and being ready for it. But you kind of have to accept that going into a category like this. Following in my dad's footsteps has always been a lot of pressure to be the best driver, to perform at the highest level. And it's hard to follow in someone's footsteps like that, who has so many championships and wins. So there was a lot of pressure to, be a great driver, and it's not easy. As a driver coming into the sport, whether you're a male or a female, there's a lot you have to learn. You have to make the mistakes and learn from them yourself. That's not something, no matter how good your car is, you can't just be handed a win. And I'm fortunate that I've had a lot of really great teachers to help me through that along the way. My first win was during my rookie season, and growing up watching my dad win a number of races and championships, I always wondered if, even if I got into the funny car category, if I'd be able to do it. Even with the right team and the right equipment and the right sponsorship money, it's difficult. You can get in that car, and some drivers aren't capable of keeping that car dead straight in the center of the groove, knowing your car and feeling it and hearing it, and I didn't know if it was going to happen. I'll never forget when that win light turned on in the final round. It was just the most amazing feeling. I was so excited. My team came on the radio in my helmet, and they were screaming that we had won, and now we've had, I think, over 13 wins. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great ride, and I'll never forget the first win. I think that's the biggest one.
Courtney Force is a powerful force.
Woo!